Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you. It might not. All right. So this energy that I'm picking up on in this reading, it might be your energy. This might be somebody that you're dealing with or somebody that's around you, but somebody here is learning, and it feels like a very actively engaged energy. Somebody's actively engaged in a learning process, but this doesn't feel like, I don't know, a college student that's cramming for their finals kind of a learning. This feels like the learning of a child. And I don't mean to demean it in any way. I'm just saying there's an innocence here. There's not an agenda behind it. It's like they discovered something that interests them or something that doesn't make sense to them. And they're curious about it in a very active and engaged way. And they're trying to figure it out for the sake of figuring out. And they may even feel kind of lost in trying to figure it out in the sense of, when you get so engaged with something, you sort of forget you have a body and that it's 3 p.m. and that your blood sugar's low and things like that. It feels like that's the kind of learning that this person is doing. And it feels like they're in a good energy about it, a neutral energy about it. But I'm seeing this person light a flare, and it's a really strong flare. And they're kind of looking around this dark cave. But the cave that I'm picturing, obviously this is a metaphor, but this is not an internal cave. This is not shadow work, in other words. They're not discovering something hidden about them. They're discovering something in the world, something surrounding them. And it may have to do with a group, or it may have to do with a cycle. It could have to do with a secret. It could have to do with something that is hidden or has been hidden. And there may have even been a plan to hide this, or that there was something to do with timing here. This may have to do with a leader and a group, but this person's really just curious, very interested. And I feel they're showing me a dichotomy a bit. There's some kind of maybe discrepancy, and it's in maybe some kind of speech. It's either a discrepancy in something here that somebody has said, and they're trying to see how those two things fit together because it doesn't naturally fit together in this person's mind. I'm really not getting a judgmental energy from this. This person feels kind of like that doesn't make sense to me, but I'm trying to understand, sort of a thing. The other thing that they may have noticed is that if it's a group with a leader that this person's observing, is that this group seems to be split in some kind of way. They thought this group was cohesive, but actually this group is split in some way. And I think it has to do with their conversation or in their speech or something, or there's a dual messaging that, again, doesn't quite make sense to this person. And I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, because sometimes complex arguments that have a lot of nuance to them, they actually do make sense, but you do have to have some level of in-depth knowledge about possibly a group or the way that something here functions, and it's actually true. But it also can be that those discrepancies can highlight where something is off or something doesn't exactly align. I feel like this person's just trying to kind of figure out whatever that is, because something here definitely was hidden in the past. And it may be that this person was actually put in a no-win scenario and didn't realize it, because there's a lot of wands energy here in the cards that I'm looking at on the table, and the wand suit is all about competition. And actually these wands energies are all surrounding a moon energy. So there could be competition here over a group or over somebody's mind or emotions. So this could be like somebody trying to have somebody to influence somebody's mind or emotions here in some kind of way, and possibly in an emotional way here as well. And I do think there's a person here who, okay, so they're showing me this dichotomy, right? So we're back to that. But it's always like a tip off for me if I'm trying to understand someone's actions and I legitimately cannot think of another reason why they would be doing the thing that they did, saying what they did, taking the stance that they are doing, outside of ignorance or cruelty. And it boils down to one or the other. That for me is a huge red flag. It's always a sign for me to just really open up my eyes and really open up my ears, because somebody here may not be what they are presenting to be. And I do think for some of you, that could be buried here, that this person is maybe on a journey to figuring out in their own time, in their own way, because somebody here might present as very Page of Cups, like maybe it's very childlike. I got 2 page energies here, but this doesn't feel like an actual child to me. So maybe very childlike or very innocent's not quite the right word, but just I don't know. But they're actually very pushy or something like that behind the scenes. Somebody here could be discovering that. But going back to the whole, is someone truly ignorant of something and truly ignorant of why what they're saying is harmful or why their position is harmful, or are they genuinely cruel and they're trying to cause some kind of harm? Both of those are two sides of the same coin in that they both rely on ignorance, is what I'm getting. Obviously, the person who is ignorant, in order for them to maintain their stance, their opinion, their position, to keep doing whatever it is that they're doing, depends on them remaining ignorant, which means they're not curious, they're not exploring, they're not questioning, they're not pushing back, right? And so if they maintain their ignorance, then the harmful action, because if you have to ask yourself, are they being cruel or are they being stupid? There's harm occurring, right? Or cruelty wouldn't be an option. So somebody's stance on the ignorant side of things, they would stop doing the harmful thing if they knew better, basically. But on the cruel side, and I think there may be, again, like there's two sides of, I think maybe this group, or possibly like, I don't know that it would be the same, like within one person, but I mean, take it however it resonates, where there's one side where it's genuine ignorance. But on the other side, on the cruel side, it still depends on ignorance, because it feels like this person or this group that seems like it's mixed into another group can only continue being cruel if they maintain ignorance in the other people in that group that could check them on their cruelty. And the number one ignorance that I feel like the cruel people have to maintain is ignorance about their true nature, which is the fact that they are, in fact, trying to be cruel. Does that make sense? So it feels like there's an overall group, but that group is actually fragmented into the ignorant and the cruel. And the cruel side of things is trying to maintain ignorance, because if they maintain the ignorance, then they don't get checked and they can continue doing what it is that they're doing. And this cycle, because it feels like maybe a cycle or something here, it can only occur if light is not shed, the light of the sun, the light of truth, the light of healing, the light of philosophy, is not shown on the part of the group that is ignorant. But somebody here is like discovering this, or they're seeing this like group very clearly. They're possibly discovering that they were not respected here. And it could be by a very Jesha kind of individual. And Jesha is an interesting energy, but this feels like a male version of Jesha. So sometimes that can be a womanizer. But also it's like the height of the world. So these people can have a lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of influence, like a lot of money, power, and influence. They could have something interesting in their speech, the way that they speak, kind of gravelly. It's also like Rahu energy. So it's greed, basically. It's like the head that doesn't have a stomach. So it just eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. But also it thinks that it can be a leader, and it can't be, because it just pursues its own selfishness, and possibly thinks of that as a kind of destiny, but it's entirely ungrounded. Like that's the energy that's really coming through. And I do feel like there's a plan here on the side of whoever this King of Wands energy is, which I think could be a leader of some kind of this group. This could be a boss, or like, I don't know, somebody with a plan. But there's also an energy of like just chasing one's own tail and trying to put somebody here in a no-win scenario. But I think whoever they're trying to put in a no-win scenario is actually going hermit mode. They're not really taking the bait, like whoever this is, because they've leveled up in some way. And I think they might not be showing this actually to this person as well, that maybe they're not buying, because whoever this is that's very cruel, I think they could try to come off in like this Page of Cups energy. They could try to make like a small offering, or but somebody here is not buying it, and I don't think they're not showing that they're not buying it potentially. And they may actually be moving away or transforming. Yeah, because they recognize something here is like not fair. Maybe this person tried to butter this person up and make them feel like they were the favorite in some way, or that they were chosen in some way. But actually, I think somebody here just wants control. But they're trying to masquerade. It's very wolf in sheep's clothing. It's like they're trying to masquerade like they're one of the sheeps, but they're actually a wolf. Yes. Spirit just confirmed that. They're trying to masquerade like they're one of the sheeps here, but they're actually a wolf. So there's somebody here that's taking advantage of people. They're betraying somebody's trust here. This could have to do with a contract. Or some kind of restrictions here. And making, and then moving away from a situation. But there's definitely, this feels cyclical or something. Like there's some kind of, there's a functioning dysfunction here. But there may be distance as well. Because whoever did this may have caused some kind of, maybe they thought that they caused some kind of ending, and that whoever they did this to, or whatever group they did this to, was going to stay down, basically. So this could be somebody here that tried to destroy a group. But this group wasn't destroyed. Or this could be somebody that tried to destroy a person. And I think this would be the kind of person that did that with a smile on their face and thought that they got away with it. Thought that whoever they actually undermined, I just heard robbed, destroyed, bought their bullshit, and believed this Page of Cups facade that was in front of them, when actually this person was cruel the whole time. And that's just, it's not the case. Because I feel like this person's kind of looking back at whoever they thought they destroyed, this cruel person, and to see that this person is building back in some way. And that was maybe a tower moment. They thought that they had levied some kind of tower moment here. And somebody here is realizing something about the past. Okay, so maybe that ties in with this. I think that's the person who's very curious here and who is learning. There was a tower moment here where something got destroyed, and it could have been a relationship or something that was like long-standing. And they're seeing things with like crisp eyes because this person's actually like very wise. But it feels like there was something here that was undiscovered, or it just wasn't lit up, or it was intentionally kept from them, something like that. But they're realizing, they're looking at something here. And it could be a piece of evidence, like an artifact, a memento, a receipt. They're looking at something here and they're realizing something about the past. And they're realizing that where they didn't see something here. And possibly that there was a short period of time where this person was like intentionally ushered away or intentionally kept in the dark, or that their consciousness was like intentionally put, or possibly what they believed in some way was, they had a choice. They were kind of going back and forth on something because they needed to separate and be independent, possibly from like a group or this leader, whoever's cruel here. They needed to separate out from this person. So there's a group here where part of the group is just ignorant in some way. They're ignorant at the very least of some other people in this group's cruelty and their intention and possibly a plan here to be cruel. There's also, for some, this is like a leader and a group, where possibly there's a leader that is either ignorant of the cruelty of a group that they're trying to deal with, or a leader that is cruel and the group is ignorant that the leader is actually cruel. I hope this is making sense. So it could be a leader and a group, but I think there's a group here where there's kind of this mixture where some of these people have some kind of plan to intentionally be cruel, but they're giving a different face, And this, for some of you, this ties something back into the past for this person. And these situations don't even have to be related, because it feels like they're discovering something here about a particular group, but then they're connecting certain dots for themselves. And it could have to do with the same situation, like, oh, I understand like how I was kind of duped in the past. Or this could be an entirely different situation, but maybe some of the undercurrents are the same, and this person's like, wait a minute, but they're connecting something here back to the past. And maybe it has to do with a change of pace or a change of place, and that may have had something to do with like quick results. Quick results of it's Five of Pentacles energy. So lack, quick results of being left out in the cold, quick results of possibly being stolen from, quick results of being ostracized, quick results of being thrown out, quick results of, yeah. And I think this person may be realizing that they were duped into feeling that somebody who was protecting themselves or holding a boundary or in the right about something was trying to attack them. And I think they were possibly even taught to hate this person, or it was in some way suggested, but this feels like, and it feels like somebody here gave this person the impression, they gave them a lens to look through, is what it feels like. They gave them a lens to look through. So when they saw this person or this group or whatever in their Seven of Wands energy, because for some it's a person, for some it's a group. If this is a person, I think it's actually quite a nurturing person. If this is a person that was disenfranchised and harmed, I think it's a nurturing person. I think it's a well-rounded person. I think it could be somebody that maybe came in and out of a space or your life in some kind of cycles. And I feel like it was a person whose sun energy, which is who they actually are, their personality, their philosophies, was actually blocked by some kind of possibly negative group or some kind of negative person that's possibly extremely codependent or wanted to foster a codependent relationship on their leadership, but this feels like maybe a mutiny or, but anyway, somebody here gave this person a lens. So when they looked out and saw either a person here or a group just defending themselves and holding a boundary and being in the right, I think, because they have the higher ground here. That feels, like a fact, like somebody here just has the higher ground and they're acting in a defensive way, or they're just holding a boundary that they have every right to hold. Somebody here was given a lens, or it was suggested in some kind of possibly slick way, so that it looked like this person was maybe being aggressive or that they were taking shots at somebody when that's not what was happening. So it's tricky, whatever is going on here. This is definitely a karmic cycle. And it does feel like somebody thought that they had successfully destroyed this group or this person that's healthy, that didn't deserve the treatment that they got, but that person like somehow phoenixed up out of the ashes, or they put themselves back together, or they walked themselves back from the brink. And then this group is now fighting amongst themselves, because especially if the group is the negative one and not some kind of group that was just trying to defend itself. Maybe there's two groups here. I don't know. This is confusing. I hope this makes sense. But this group is now fighting amongst itself because there's some people here who are genuinely ignorant, either of the other people in the group's cruelty because they're trying to hide it. They're trying to, this is very Page of Cups energy in this instance would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just always stick all my friends in the eye with my finger. I mean, it's my greeting, you know? I didn't know. It's a cultural difference. Like, you know, something like that. I know this is an absurd example, but yeah. So there's fighting amongst this group because there are people here who are cruel and they tried to hide something intentionally, something about somebody's sun energy, which is their truth, their personality, their philosophy. They tried to hide it. And it was possibly a part of a plan. And they possibly weaponized another aspect of this group. So half of this group, I think, feels betrayed because they were kept in the dark about something in order to be used as a pawn here. Somebody here was trying to profit off of creating a scapegoat out of a person who was actually very noble, not doing anything wrong, completely in the right, actually had the high ground, was just defending themselves or setting a boundary that they had every right to set. And I just heard settling a score that they had every right to settle here as well, too. So that's what's going on here. And possibly somebody here is having this anxiety about a conflict. Spirit is trying to reach out to this person. Yeah. Spirit's trying to reach out to this person. Spirit was trying to give them a wish fulfillment in some way, but they needed to take a leap of faith. They needed to trust something here. I feel like they needed to go out on a limb in order to receive the truth. So they needed to start an awkward conversation. They needed to walk right up to this person who's being scapegoated, who they've been trained to look at as, oh, this is this very aggressive beast. Meanwhile, this person is taking blows after blows that are unjust. and just trying to defend themselves. And if they had started the conversation, if they had said the thing, if they had been direct in some way, then I think it would have led to some kind of wish fulfillment energy, actually. Yeah. But instead, I feel like they were also given some kind of rival offer in some way. And that could be a rival narrative where they basically trusted the wrong person here. Somebody that they thought was noble. And they have the appearances of it in some way. And there's Three of Cups energy here around that as well. So there could have been, again, a group or some kind of partying energy or, yeah. Yeah. So I hope this made sense. This one was a little, there's moon energy here. And I find whenever the moon comes out super strong, and the moon's right in the middle of this, that a lot of times it can be hazy, it can be confusing to kind of sort through the energy. But I do feel like there's a group here, at least one. There possibly could be two groups, because there might be a group that is solidly cruel, but pretending to be ignorant. When they're called out on their cruelty, they play ignorant. You know, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not this or that. There could be a group here, though, that's split, where there's a cycle between this group, definitely a karmic cycle, I just heard, whereby some of these group members are ignorant of the other members' cruelty. And so they collude with this energy in order to cause some kind of harm to a righteous energy, whether that is a person or a group. And in order to actually block out the sun energy, the truth energy, the healing energy, and if this is a person, to block out the reality of their personality, the nuances of their personality, and possibly to prevent people from going directly to the source, because they've presented this image of when they're in their Seven of Wands energy, it's not for any reason that literally any human being in the same scenario would be in. They're not defending themselves. They're being aggressive. They're not asserting a boundary. They're being aggressive. They don't have the high ground. They're being aggressive. Something here like that. When I think it's somebody else here who's actually being aggressive, but they actually have to actually tear down at truth and righteousness and nobility, because somebody here is in the right. Somebody here is in the right. So I'm sure this was confusing. This is all about the truth and like kind of getting to the truth here and leaving behind kind of a shadowy group. And if you're confused about what to do, but if you have identified that there is cruelty here in this group, then I think it might be best to take some time away from it. And learn how to trust your own intuition. I feel like there's actually real boon energy in doing that. Something here is going to really grow around you, because everybody involved in this group, if the group itself is like kind of blended, everybody involved in this group is kind of having to figure out this same karmic lesson. And they also need to distinguish themselves as being on the side of righteousness or being on the side of just overt cruelty, but that likes to play innocent or likes to play dumb or likes to evade whenever it's called out for its cruelty. This is a group that needs to pull itself apart. And the people who have just been intentionally kept in the dark about this somebody else's cruelty here, they need to oppose it, is what they need to do, or get away from it, because they lend credibility to this cruel person or the cruel people in this group. They lend credibility, and they need to remove their support from that. And if they've participated in whatever this group is, they need to be the one to oppose it. They need to be the one to dismantle it. And I think a lot of they will, if they just walk away, all of these people, because then I think this person or these people that are actually cruel, they don't have the cover. They don't look legitimate. I think it's more obvious to people that this is what it is, kind of a thing. Yeah, and there's Wheel of Fortune energy here in terms of the options or the confusion here. And it feels like somebody here may have cover. They may have time to try to kind of figure out their confusion, while whoever it is that is the cruel person won't catch on to them. But then there's going to be a judgment call. And the truth is actually going to be revealed. And what they didn't understand in the past, they will understand. And they're going to recognize that something has to change, potentially after they've invested in a group or a person that they shouldn't have, because they didn't have the right... Yeah, yeah. And I think involving with this person or supporting a cruel person or a cruel group colluding with that energy has now restricted in some way their own Leo energy. So Leo, that fifth house energy, right? So it could have restricted their playfulness. It could have restricted something here about a romantic partner, because Leo is the house of romance, something here to do with a child, or something here to do with playfulness, or something here to do with reputation and legacy. But they've restricted their own self by being involved with this. It's had a karmic effect, and it's a stunting effect here as well. And it could even just be, you know how like people say, if you want to know where you're going in life, like look at the 5 people that are closest to you. And this person just may have not even realized that they're around some bad eggs here. Whoever's kind of realizing this. So somebody here is, so going back to this curious person that I've been picking up on in the beginning, this is something that they're kind of sorting through, right? They are, okay, so what could have sparked this? It could have been an accident. It could have been an argument. It could have been seeing somebody's good karmas here. Because again, if the narrative played out that somebody here was such a horrible person, but then all of a sudden they're seeing like actually the goodness of this person, and that they just kind of break some sort of mold. And that, somebody here could have that almost like a Geminian effect in their sun, like a sun in Gemini, where they have nuances to their personality, a nuance that this person didn't understand in the past, and they also weren't curious about it in the past because somebody gave this person cause to feel that they, that they needed, it was like blocked in some way. And I think they're discovering something here, this curious person. Anything else? They're discovering possibly a secret. They're discovering their own intuition. They are discovering something here about a fast-moving manipulative energy that may have to do with travel. It may have to do with a message that caused somebody here that possibly caused them or someone else to boss up in some kind of, it feels like someone who took a Queen of Swords energy. They made some kind of very firm, very fast decision, and they did it thinking that they were in a maternal energy, thinking that they were in a protective, motherly sort of an energy, but actually they were just duped. Because it feels to me like there was some kind of message that came in. It was highly manipulative. In order to get this Queen of Swords, which I'm kind of getting a Hasta energy from that, which is a nakshatra in the middle of Virgo. It is moon ruled, and it's known for being like the protective mother. So it could be this like protective mother energy, or somebody who carries this energy. And they received a message that was actually wrong in order to dupe this person into doing their bidding, basically. In order to outcast an earth angel, basically an earth angel. And somebody here who has tempered out their energy, and possibly this is a group, so take this however it resonates, but somebody who has tempered out their energy after, I think, facing an innumerous number of their fears, their own fears, but somebody who went through some kind of very painful ending and is healing from that, and is also very different now because of it. Like it transformed them, but in a way, and they're receiving some kind of spiritual inheritance, or they will be shortly. Because this is impressive. Yeah, and they've cleared a lot of karma here. And somebody here is just getting a different perspective on something that went on here in the past, and some kind of karmic energy that was going on here in the past. And this is definitely karmic, and this definitely has played out in past lives, but somebody here is waking up to it. So that's what I have for you. This was a confusing one, but that's what I have. So if that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.